always the nice part, right? All right, so we're going to get started tonight. We're going to focus on compensation plan, but we're going to focus on not how the compensation plan is or all of the rules of the comp plan. Like there's a enrollment tree and there's a binary tree. We know those things. Those are the basics. What I want to teach you are some of the tricks of the trade, if you will, some of the rules that you're going to want to follow to make sure that you are maximizing your commissions in the comp plan. Make sense? Okay, so we're going to talk about, there are definitely two types of trees, right? You have your enrollment tree. That's the one that is your own personally sponsored people, right? And then you have the binary tree. Now, what I want to focus on, the differences of these trees are this. The enrollment tree, for all intents and purposes, is like your personal genealogy. You can't change who gave birth to you. You can't say, I no longer want that person to be my mom. They gave birth to you, it is what it is. That's your enrollment tree. You don't place people strategically, you don't mess it up. It is what it is. Okay? That's the enrollment tree. Now, the reason I say that is because if I sponsor someone right here, this is me, this is I don't know why I just put I, me, this is me. Okay? Let's say I talk to Yancey over here. If I talk to Yancey and I enroll Yancey, Yancey is and always will be in that spot. I can't move him, I can't place him, I can't do anything with him. But what if Yancey and Shane are friends? They know each other. I talk to both Yancey and Shane. If I enroll them both, then it ends up looking like this. Yancey's over here and Shane's over here. Is that okay? Yeah. Are you working together at all? Not at all. They're working completely independent of each other at this point. This is where the binary tree comes in very, very useful. Okay? In the binary tree, I'm going to redraw because that was so light. In the binary tree, this is me. And I have two legs and I can place people on. What I want to do if these two know each other, but I end up enrolling them separately, do I want to put Yancey here and Shane here? I want to put, if Yancey's already here, I don't want to put Shane here because they know each other. So I'm going to put Shane right here. Now, people would say, wait a second, time out. To get paid in the binary, you have to have someone on each leg. But you've now sponsored two people, and you put them both on the same leg. Isn't that going to cause a problem? It's not going to cause a problem because I just need to put my third person over there instead of my second person. Make sense? So, in the enrollment tree, anyone that you personally enroll is always going to go right here. Now, what if, Shane, do you have a sister? Brother. I know you have a brother. Give me your brother's name.
Todd.
Todd. So what if I went and talked to Todd, but Todd is Shane's brother? Does it make sense for me to sponsor Todd or for Shane to?
Shane.
That's right. So it doesn't matter that I talk to Todd. I might give Shane Todd instead of putting Todd right here. Right? That would have been me, in effect, giving up an enrollment. Now, let's talk about when is it ever okay to do that? Okay? Blood, which means family or relationships. If two people are related, if they have a really tight relationship, if they are best friends, you're going to find that you're going to get more production out of that group when they're working more closely together than when they feel like they're competing against each other. Why is that? Okay? Todd and Shane, they're brothers. Do they likely know the same people? So if I put Todd over here instead of over here, and they're competing against each other, does that help or hurt? It hurts. And what ends up happening is sometimes people get frustrated They're frustrated because we both know the same people. We're competing against each other, but we're supposed to be on the same team doing business together. Make sense? And that's why only, in the case of blood, I would occasionally give up a sponsorship. Now, some people have said, well, you teach us to go 4 wide. So let's say I've sponsored my 4 people, and I'm about to sponsor number 5. Wouldn't it make more sense for me, instead of sponsoring number 5, to come over here and give that person to Yancey so that he can have somebody too? Start building his paycheck? What do you guys think about that? Make more sense to do that, or for me to sponsor my 5th? It's kind of a trick question, because strategically, I need the people that are in my lines to make money, right? I need them to be successful. That's part of how this business works. But let me ask you this. Do you know what you're giving up? So let me tell you, anytime you take somebody that is your own personal person and put them under somebody else, you need to know what you're giving up before you ever make that decision, because it could come back to haunt you. Okay? In this compensation plan, you get paid on having good, strong legs. Now, from a leg, what it means is anything that happens under Yancey down, or under Shane down, or under this person down, or this person down, is a leg. It's an enrollment tree leg. It doesn't matter if Yancey produces the volume or if it comes from this person that's down 14 levels later. It doesn't matter if it comes through that leg of people. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, because this is going to be interactive because we're talking comp plans, so everybody's got to follow the whole time, because you get lost once, you're lost the whole time. So we all understand that it doesn't matter where the volume comes from. Yancey could sponsor only 1 person in his lifetime. But let's say this person only sponsors 1 person, they only sponsor 1, and then this person sponsors 4, and then this person sponsors 1,000, and it just goes crazy right there. Does it matter that it came from Yancey? No, it only matters that it was in this leg somewhere. Anything from Yancey down counts as volume for that leg. Make sense? Why this is really important for you to understand is because inside the compensation plan, in order to advance ranks, the amount of volume you have in each given leg starts to become important. And the reason for that is this. There is a cap of 40% of the volume from one leg that can count towards a rank advancement. So let's say I'm trying to be a sapphire. A sapphire is 20,000 points of volume. I cannot have more than 40% coming from any one leg, which means that 8,000 points of volume is the most that I can accept from any leg in order to rank advance. Okay, everybody following me? So what happens if Yancey has 25,000 in his leg, Shane has 5,000 here, and these guys only have 100 each, and I have 4 people? I am technically generating 30,000 points of volume, correct? 30,200 points of volume is my total. Am I a sapphire? I am not a sapphire. Why? Sapphire, I only need 20,000 points. I only need 20,000 to be a sapphire.
But you can only get 8,000 from each leg.
But I can only get 8,000 from each leg. That's exactly it. So, do I still get paid? Yes, I still get paid, but I don't rank advance. Why is rank advancement so important? Is it just because you want the glitz and the glam?
The Audi.
Okay, we do want the Audi, don't we? And so the sapphire position holds an Audi and $10,000, but that's not all. Every time you rank advance in this company, you get another level deeper in pay and a higher percentage in the binary. Okay? So, I want to rank advance so that I make bigger percentages of my check, or that I make more of the money in my team. So if I only go out there and build one leg, am I going to be filthy stinking rich? No, because I'm going to get capped, aren't I? I'm only going to be able to ever earn at a certain percentage. This, by the way, is an important thing for you to understand, not only so that you can make money in our comp plan, but so that you can also understand why it is exactly that we are the farthest thing from a pyramid scheme that's ever existed. As a pyramid, you come in, you put somebody in, and you make money under everybody underneath of you, right? That's the way they claim that is how it's supposed to work. If I'm here and I bring Yancey in and his leg goes to 125,000, but it's the only leg I build, but Yancey got to 125,000 because he had 4 legs and they had 4 legs and they had 4 legs. Who's going to make more money, me or Yancey? Yancey by a long shot, because he's going to have his volume spread out through the legs. He's going to rank advance, and he's going to get higher percentages and deeper levels of pay in the comp plan than I ever will. So did the person on top make more money, or did the person below make more money? The person who went to work made more money. Make sense? Now, really important to understand that those legs matter. So, I've got these legs. I'm trying to build out legs. So how many legs, if 40% your cap, how many legs minimally do you need in order to make sure your volume's spread out? How many legs would you need? At the very minimum.
3.
At least 3, right? 40% from one, 40% from the other, and the other 20% can come from the third. At least 3. At least. Now, as you keep, but you don't have to get all of your qualifying volume from one leg. This is an important thing too. Let's say if I want to be a sapphire, do I have to have 2 legs with 8,000 and 1 leg with 4,000? Do I have to have 3 legs evenly split? 8,000, 8,000, 4,000? Leg 1, 2, and 3. Is that what it has to look like for me to hit sapphire? Would I hit sapphire if I had that? Yes, I would. Does it have to look like that for me to hit sapphire?
You have to
Nope.
have 8,000.
I could have, my first leg could have 1,000 on it. My second leg could have 7,000. My third leg could have 9,000. My fourth leg could have 6,000. My fifth leg could have 2,000. Would I hit sapphire there?
No.
Let's look. How much can I count from this leg?
Oh, wait.
I can count 8,000 from there, right? I can count all 7 there because I never hit my 40% cap of the 20,000, right? Do you guys understand the 40% cap thing? It comes off of the volume that you need for a rank. So what that means is if you need 20,000 points of volume to be a sapphire, 40% of 20,000 is 8,000. So you can never count more than 8,000 from that leg to hit sapphire. But let's say I have this big old monster leg over here of Yancey's, and I'm not trying to hit sapphire anymore. I'm trying to hit emerald. And emerald, you need 100,000 in volume. How much of Yancey's leg do I get to count to hit emerald? The rank is equal to, the rank is emerald, and it's equal to 100,000. How much of Yancey's leg do I get to count towards that? 40,000. Why is that? Somebody other than Yancey, tell me, why do I get to count 40,000 of that 125 towards emerald?
Because it's 40%.
Of?
The leg.
Not of the leg. The leg's 125,000. It's 40% of what? The amount necessary to hit the rank. Okay, so whatever your rank requirement is, if the rank requirement is 20,000, your leg cap's 40% of that. If it's 100,000, your leg cap's 40% of that. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So if emerald is 100,000, I can count 40,000 from any given leg, but not any more than that. So if emerald is 100,000, I have one leg with 125,000 on it. It's not going to do it. only can count 40,000 from that leg to get to emerald. So how important is it that I go out and build multiple legs? Very, right? That's also why we don't want to give up too many enrollments, because it's not just the volume of those 4 legs. I can count the volume of any leg coming across. Now, what you do want to do, instead of giving up the enrollments and putting them under them, is you want to leverage the binary tree to place people strategically in order to work together. So Yancey and Shane know each other. I'm going to put Yancey and Shane underneath of each other. Make sense? So how many of you know the right strategy for placement in the binary tree? How do you build a binary tree that's really going to grow and be effective? Do you guys know that? Or do you want to learn that? Okay, here is your rules. The first person you sign up is going to go on the team leg. Now, what in the world does that mean? What is your team leg?
The people you sponsor, pushing sponsor, right?
Nope. But I like the guess. What is a team leg? Anybody know? The team leg has nothing to do with where you placed people originally and everything to do with where you're placed. Okay? Every single person has a team leg. And it's where your sponsor places you. So if your sponsor is here and they place you here, you are here, then which one, your left or your right, will be your team leg?
The left.
The left leg. This is now your team leg. Why is that? Because it's the leg of the person that sponsored you. It's that same leg. Because if they sponsor somebody else, they always have to put them left or right, correct? If they sponsor someone else, where are they going to place them? The outside of either their left leg or their right leg. So the outside ends up being the team leg. So let me show you how this works. We teach people a process called contribute to. Right? Now what that means is you are going to take your binary tree and you're going to put your first person and your second person on the team leg, and then your third person goes on your own inside leg. Why is that? In this business, statistically speaking, if you sponsor 3 people, you have an incredibly high probability of sticking with the business and doing well. If you sponsor less than 3 people, you have a high probability of the person quitting. Okay? Now, if you are one of these first 2 people and you got stuck, say, over here, and this person quit, who's supporting you? If you're over here? Right. So we try to create a structure where nobody gets left an orphan by teaching this. If I teach every person to put their first 2 people on the team leg, then person number 1 is now going to sponsor their first 2 people. Where would they put them? This is person number 1. They've got this leg and that leg. Where would number 1 go? On the left, right? Team leg. So we're going to put their first and second person here, and their third person here. What about number 2? On the left, team leg. Okay, so their first and second person is going to come here and here, and their third person comes here, correct? What's happening now with this leg? Can you guys see why that's a team leg, quote unquote? Because that's where everybody's placing their person. Now, this was your sponsor. They go to bring somebody into the business. Are they going to just put somebody randomly here or here? They're going to stick them to the outside. And so now the sponsor brings in a person and they place them here, and that team leg continues to grow. Now, people will come in and say, well, then that's awesome if you're 1 and 2. Sucks to be number 3, doesn't it? Does it?
Well, they should be building their own legs, right?
They should, but here's the thing. If you build this correctly, every leg builds a team leg, and here's why. Number 3, that person, where should they place their first and second person? To their left? Which one's the team leg for number 3?
Oh, it's be the outside, so the right.
Exactly. The outside, because it's based on where your sponsor is, not where you are, right? So their team leg for number 3 is their right leg, correct? So they're going to place their 1 and 2 right here, right? And then they're going to put their number 3 right here. Where is their number 1 going to place their 1 and 2? On the right or the left? On the right. So they place their 1 and 2 here, and they place their number 3 here. Where's their number 2 person going to place their 1 and 2?
On the right.
On the right. 1 and 2 go here, number 3 goes here. Oh my goodness, what just happened? A team leg. Does that make sense? Every single person, if you build correctly and you contribute to, is building a team leg. So your first person goes on the team leg, your second person goes on the team leg, your third person goes on your personal leg, and your fourth person starts to create balance. Those are your basic rules. There are only a couple of things that can happen that should disrupt those rules ever. Okay? Blood and geography. Okay, so blood and geography are the 2 rules that can break that right there. Why is that? Okay, let's say my 1 and 2 are here, right? And then I'm going to have my number 3. And my third person is next door neighbors with number 2. Where do I put them? Do I keep the formation and I put them here? What do you guys think? They're next door neighbors. This is me. I'm supposed to place my 1 and 2 here and my third here. I've placed my 1 and 2 here, but now I've got this number 3 and he's next door neighbors with number 2. Do I place him here? Put him under here, wouldn't you? That gives you 3 on one side, you're not even qualified yet. Shouldn't you just go ahead and put him over there anyway, because it's better for you?
Need that team leg.
You'd put him under there because of geography. Now why is that? Because if he's over here and he's over here, are they working together or are they competing? They're competing. Do you want 2 next door neighbors that all know the same people competing against each other? You want to have one Wednesday night meeting is at this house and one Wednesday night meeting is at the other house, and we're competing to see who has more cars in their driveway? Right? Same thing if this was a family member. It doesn't matter that you're number 3. If it's a family member to number 1 and 2, guess where you put them anyways? On that leg. Blood and geography don't break those rules. And let me tell you why. I have watched people be so worried about losing money that they absolutely lose money. If you're so worried that you might lose out on a dime, I promise you, you'll lose it all. If you build this business in fear, or you build this business worried about your own personal paycheck before the paycheck of the people you're working with, you will fail. You have to focus on what's going on around you, and don't be afraid to be unselfish in this business. It always comes back and pays in spades. Okay? So if you're so worried about getting yourself qualified that you break that rule, it will come back to break you. I've watched it happen. I watched a group that had massive growth happening. They had, in their binary structure, they had over 80,000 points of volume in one side of their binary structure, And then and his other leg only had 10,000 points. And he brought in a brand new person. Where would you put him? The side with 80,000 or the side with 10? With 10, because you got to build it up, get more over there, right? But this guy that he was signing up was best friends with the person over here. But he needed that money. Gotta put him over there. I can't put anybody over there. I can't do it. I gotta build this other side. Put him on the other side. These two started competing. And guess what ended up happening with both of them? They both left the business angry and bitter. And now how much did he have in volume on either side? Nothing. Okay? If you are so worried about yourself in this thing, you will end with nothing. You've got to make sure that you that you follow these types of things. Do not disrupt relationships. If you notice, blood and geography have everything to do with relationships. Now, I also use the geography rule when it doesn't have that much to do with relationships, because I found that people work better together when they can work in groups. So we might be on completely opposite enrollment tree legs, but because we all live in the same area and we're all working together on the same leg of the binary, we can all come together at a meeting like this. Each person in this room, actually, literally each person in this room, except for maybe one, is in a completely separate enrollment tree leg. So why is it that we're all able to come here and work together? We're all on the same binary tree leg. Does that make sense? So if you are signing up, let's say that this is you again, you're number 1. You bring in number 1 here, or you bring in your first person right here, and they're from Utah County. And your second person is from Salt Lake County, and your third person's from Salt Lake County. You already put number 1 here. If you end up putting number 2 over here, or if you end up putting the 2, where should you put the 2 and 3 from Salt Lake County? Should you put them on separate legs or on the same legs?
Same.
Salt Lake County should be on the same leg, right? Exactly. Blood and geography. Follow those rules. They're very, very helpful. All right, so those are some super basic things. Team leg, personal leg, balance. If you follow those rules, then from 5 and beyond, where do you place people? Wherever you need the volume. If you need volume on your left leg, put them on your left leg. If you need volume on your right leg, put them on your right leg. Unless, what?
Geography or blood.
Bam. Exactly. Unless geography or blood. Unless there's a relationship that you need to attach them to, or a geography location you need to attach them to. Other than that, follow the rules, and you're in good shape. It's getting windy outside. Goes to the fireplace. Does that make sense? Are you guys understanding? Any questions about this? And please don't be afraid right now to say, didn't understand any of it, start over type of thing. Because here's the thing. I've been doing this for a lot of years. This makes so much sense to me, it's hard for it not to make sense to me. When you've never done this, this is like looking at Chinese characters up here and saying, yeah, whatever, I don't read or speak Chinese.
DNA.
Right? We're looking at DNA molecules up here, aren't we? So, do you guys all understand this? Okay, good. So we're going to have a little quiz. You are a brand new person signing up in the business. So we're erasing our answers over here so that you guys so you can't cheat. All right, this is you. You're brand new in the business. You sign up Bob, who's your first person. You sign up Shane, who's your second person. You sign up James, who's your third, and Sue, who is your fourth. These are your first 4 people. Okay? This is your binary tree. This is you in your binary tree. And you go in, and as soon as you enroll somebody in the system, they go into something called your holding tank. And all that means is they're sitting nicely in this little spot right here, and they're waiting for you to decide where they go in your binary. So you sign up Bob and Shane, okay, are 1 and 2. James is 3, Sue is 4, and we are going to complicate things just a little bit by saying that Sue and Shane know each other. They're friends, very good friends. Now, you're going to place your 4 people in your binary structure. When you log in and you click on your holding tank, you're going to see this lovely little image that has your name in it. And then it's going to have a plus sign on the left and a plus sign on the right. What are you going to do? You click on Bob, and where does Bob go? Does he go here or here? Depends on what? What'd you say?
Blood or geography.
Blood or geography? Not yet. How do I know how to even start my tree? Where should number 1 go? Team link. Which one's my team link? Left or right? Depends on where I was placed. So what do I need to find out? What leg am I on of my sponsor? Is my sponsor up here, or is my sponsor up here? Okay, so we're going to say that your sponsor is here. So now, where do you place Bob? Right leg. Bob goes here. Okay, Shane, where does Shane go? In this situation, we have all 4 signed up and we're placing all 4 at the same time.
Right.
So you have 4 people. You're going to put Shane on the right?
Yes.
Normally, yes.
Shane.
Except,
I put Shane and Sue on the left and put Bob and James on the right.
there we go. So if we're signing up all 4 at the same time, and we have a blood or geography thing breaking our rules, then what would we do? We would put these 2 together, right? So even though it's number 2, which would normally put it right here, if I put Shane here, that's going to make it so that I have to put Sue over here also, right?
Right.
But if I put Shane here, then I can put James here and Sue here. And now I'm keeping my blood geography tied and these 2 tied.
But you could switch those too, right?
I could have done 2 and 2 because I was placing 4 at the same time, right? Now let's pretend I signed up these people independently, and I did not know about 3 and 4 yet. So I know these 2 come in. This is my binary tree. I log in and it's got my little plus sign on there. I'm going to place Bob where?
All right.
Okay, then later I sign up Shane, and I'm going to place him where?
Right.
On the right. So I'm going to put 2 to the team leg. Now I sign up James. Where does James go?
Left.
Now I sign up Sue. Where does Sue go? Could I have possibly known that before if I didn't know I was signing up all 4 people? Right? That's why I ended up having 3 and 1. But this is what happens, is where do most people put Sue? They end up putting Sue over here, and then you've got Shane over here and Sue over here, and you've got a blood and geography problem because these 2 should be working together and they're not. Does that make sense? Is it okay for me if this ended up happening? Is that okay?
Sure.
Sure it is, because do I have 4 independent enrollment legs? And have I started my binary tree? Am I working towards a paycheck? Am I working to build an organization? This is a really interesting thing, because when you watch people that build organizational structures with the mentality of I've done it before and I have a long-term vision, they will build this differently than you can imagine. For example, I have seen people that will come in and they'll go take Bob And they won't bring in a Shane, a James, or a Sue until Bob's leg has hit 20,000 in volume. And they put everybody under Bob over here, and this leg has 20,000 in volume. How much is that person making? How much are you making if you do that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Bob's making good money. Bob's a sapphire. Because you built under Bob and created a sapphire Bob, you're making 0. Why on earth would somebody do that? If you knew, if you were building your business with 0 fear and perfect confidence and knowledge that you could build as many of these 20,000 legs at a time, or that you wanted, it's just a matter of build one, go to your next one, go to your next one, go to your next one. If this became something you knew exactly how to do it, would you be at all afraid to do that? You wouldn't. And what ends up happening is he goes and builds Bob. Bob is now a sapphire, has his own organization, and is cranking along. They continue to increase in volume while he goes and starts new volume. He continues to increase in volume while he starts new volume. And they build a massive organization this way. But the reason why nobody does that, the reason why that's not how we teach anybody to do it, is because in order to build that way, you have to have a very serious long-term outcome or outlook on your business. You have to be thinking 3 to 5 years ahead, and you have to be perfectly confident of what you're doing and that you can do it over and over and over and over again. And most people aren't when they come into business. So we teach you how to build a paycheck at the same time as you're building the paychecks as your team. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's talk. Let's keep going with our quiz here. This is our situation. We've got Sue and Shane who are connected in terms of blood geography, and along comes person number 5. We'll call this person Rob. And you talked to Rob. Rob knows Bob. Are you going to sponsor Rob as your 5th? Or are you going to give up the enrollment? You're going to give it up? Or are you going to keep it? What do you stand to lose if you give up the enrollment?
Another leg.
Another leg. Exactly. What else?
Competitive factor between the two.
So that's your trade-off, right? Are these two going to compete against each other? Am I going to get more value in them working together? Am I going to help Bob qualify and start earning a paycheck? Am I going to help them, right? So we talk about that. You decide you're going to sponsor Rob. Now you've got a 5th person, but Rob and Bob are friends. Where do you need to put Rob?
On the right.
That was James, by the way. You would need to put Rob down here, even though you're now getting a little bit lopsided. Rob would need to come down there anyways. Does that make sense? Now you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go sponsor like 9 more people. But you're not. What you need to be doing in between each of these is make sure that you're working with the individual people that you sponsored to help them drive their lines. Right? And make sure that they're building. So this was an extreme example. I just wanted to make sure that we understood it conceptually. This does not happen that often. But I just wanted to make sure you guys understand the concept of where you strategically place people. It's not hard. Inside the compensation plan, we get paid on our unilevel levels. So we would get 5% of anything on our level 1. Anything that these people do, no matter how wide it goes, this could be, Bob could go out there and be a killer. He could go recruit 100 people. Shane recruits nobody. James recruits 1. Sue recruits 10. And Rob recruits 5. It doesn't matter how many. Every single one of these guys is part of your L2. This is L1. This is L2. That makes sense? Doesn't matter how wide it goes, they stay in your L2. In the compensation plan, you're getting paid on everything as it goes down, all the way down to level 9. And every single person in this structure takes a spot in the binary tree. Every single one of them has a home over there in the binary tree, right? And you're going to get paid on the lesser leg of that binary tree. So if this one has 20,000 in volume and this one has 10,000 in volume, which one are you getting paid on? The 10,000, right? You're getting paid on your lesser leg. So is it important that I try to keep those legs as even as possible? Absolutely. I want you to keep those legs as even as possible. But what I don't want you to do is be so focused on keeping those legs even that you trip over blood and geography, cause relationship issues in your business, and lose your business in the process. Does that make sense for everybody? Good. Any other specific comp plan questions that you might have here? We're running out of time. Do you understand it better than when you got here? Do you understand how to place people and where to place people and why to place them there? You understand how the enrollment works and why it's so important to have multiple legs? Do you understand what you're giving up if you ever decide to give up an enrollment? Do you understand that in order to give up an enrollment, what if I really want to? What if Rob and Bob are such good friends that I've decided Bob needs to sponsor Rob? Do I sign Rob up on my website and then place him under Bob? Can I place somebody in the enrollment tree? No, that was a trick question. See if you guys were still listening. What do I need to do in order for Rob to get under Bob?
You would have to go on Bob's website.
That's right. Bob needs to actually sponsor Rob. I don't sponsor him and then place him. You don't place here. Instead, Bob sponsors him. Bob places him in the binary. Okay? Was that helpful? Did we learn anything?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, and no more questions? Any other questions that doesn't have to be about this? Okay, good. Now, let me ask you this. In the compensation plan, we get people all the time that ask questions like, how am I actually making money? How do I really get to where I'm making money? And people come in this thing and they start working and they work for, let's say, a month. And they bring in their 4 people and their 4 bring in 4 and there's 20 people they've got 20 people on their team. Now if you had 20 people on your team and each one of them had 100 points of auto ship volume, how much volume are you generating to the company? How much revenue are you generating? 20 people, $100 each. $2,000, right? $2,000. Now, in this comp plan, generating 2,000, you're going to be getting paid 5% on that 2,000, which is how much? $100. Okay? So you're getting $100 plus. You would also be getting 10% of the binary. So let's just say that happened to be split equally, 1,000 on each leg. 10% of 1,000 is $100. So we just made $200, right? So I brought $2,000 to the table and I made 200. So I got 10%.
For Carl?
Yeah, 2,000.
2,000?
So I made $200, which is 10% of how much revenue I brought into the company. Would you say that that's fair? Do you guys know anybody that works on commission?
My husband does.
Okay, how much does he get paid? Does he get paid 10%?
I have no idea. It's hourly. He paints cars.
And
So
he
if
gets
he
paid
does it
commission
in
on it.
like, he did like 10-hour job and he does it in 5 hours, he gets paid the 10 hours.
Right, gotcha. So we found 10% is actually a pretty fair pay for people who are getting commission. And then we go all the way up to 25%. And in some cases, you can be making up to 40% on the volume that you've generated from your team. You just get paid a bigger percentage as your numbers grow, right? But here's what happens with people as they look at that and they say, oh, I worked so hard. I got my 4 people and they got 4 and I only made $200. This thing doesn't work. But if you do the math and think, well, wait a second, I got paid 10% in commissions on the volume that I generated for the company, you actually got paid really fairly, right? So the difference between people that succeed and fail in network marketing so much comes down to your mindset of whether or not you are legitimately going to do this business as a business or not. If you are going to dive in and you're going to say, I'm actually going to build a business. I'm not going to have unrealistic expectations, but I am going to build something substantial. Those are the people that succeed in this thing, because they don't go out, have 20 people come in, make $200 and say, oh, that's disappointing, I'm out. They know going into it that that's the way it works, and they move past that point to where they're making 40% of what their money is and not 10%. They're making larger percentages of sales on larger quantities of volume. Okay, I've done this example before, but I really want you to understand it. If you take a penny, in this thing, it's all about duplication. You get 4, they get 4, they get 4, they get 4, etc. So if I have 4 people, and then they all get 4, and then they all get 4, and they all get 4, my organization is doubling, tripling, quadrupling in size every single month, correct? That's how that could work. If you take a penny and you double it every day, let's just do the math really quickly. Double it once, how much we got? 2 cents. Double it again. 4 cents. Double it again. We got 8 cents. Double it again. Double it again. Double it again. Double it again. $1.28. Double it again. 156. Double it again.
512.
512. 156. That's 312. Oh, 256. 512. Double it again.
1024.
Okay, we have doubled 10 times, and we've made $10. That just sucks. Right? But what happens if you double it 10 more times? You ready? Okay, double it again.
2048.
2048. Double it again.
4096.
Double it again.
8192.
Double it again.
16384.
Double it again.
32768.
Double it again.
65536.
Double it again.
13172.
Double it again.
262 144.
Double it again.
524 288.
Double it again.
1,048 576.
We went from $10 to $1 million. The same amount of effort as it took us to go from a penny to $10. Same amount of effort.
It's a million pennies though. It's not $1 million.
Okay, million pennies, but still, same point, right? But you guys understand what I'm saying. This is exactly how network marketing works. Your first parts of the business, you're going to feel like you're grinding it out with very little financial reward. But the same amount of effort it takes to build the base in your business is the same amount of effort you'll spend putting the explosive growth in your business that pays substantial dividends. A lot of people say you'll get paid a penny an hour for the work you do in your first year, but you'll get paid $1,000 for an hour for the work you do for the rest of your life after that. That's quite literal truth in my experience, is that you just work, you're putting in all this effort, and you're just getting to this point. Same amount of effort that got you there can take you to huge quantities of income down the road. That makes sense? Really important that you understand that, and a lot of that is the way that the compensation works, and it works that way everywhere because that's just the way compensation plans work. So, hopefully that was helpful tonight. Hopefully we learned something about the comp plan. We learned something about placement and strategy and all of that good stuff. Everybody feeling good? Okay, awesome. We're going to take a break. There's some snacks back